Cosmic here, and welcome back to another Battle Spirit Saga video. Today, we're going to talk about our most recent news and kind of the plans going forward for the channel, because we're going to be in this weird middle ground where, yes, we're getting daily tweets, but it's not spoilers or starter deck information, so there won't be a lot to do. So just to cut straight to that point, I'm going to try to just do one video every week, talk about the news, talk about leaks that we might get, and just kind of let that be the schedule until we get into proper spoiler season and get more information, and then the videos will ramp back up again. Then also, if we get the starter decks, like if we get the full yellow reveal, we will go back and do like a red versus yellow starter deck, or starter versus demo, okay, whatever's available at that time, just to put out more games out there and really show how amazing Battle Spirit Saga is going to be with the different levels of interaction that we're going to have, and just how the different colors really want to do different unique things. But what's really exciting is 3 days ago, we got this tweet that talked about, hey, we're going to have some news tips, right? Like I just mentioned. So between now and, again, I'm recording this on the 10th, so we got 20-ish more days, depending on if they actually do stick with a tweet every single day about how to play tips. But I can't possibly imagine that they're going to do 20 more days of, during your core step, you gain 1 core. I mean, like, there's got to be something at the end, right? We know that there's going to be events in March, so if we kind of move that timeline back, I would not be surprised if we start to see spoilers either like very late December or more likely January, because people are going to have cards in March. They're going to be able to open the packs, see everything else out there, and generally they do let us, except maybe the secret rare we won't get to see, or the top rare it's called, but generally most of the set should be available to us at that time. So what I wanted to do is talk about what we've seen, really talk about what it means at a high level, from even though it's only the 4 new cards that we got, it really does help us give some real insight about where is this power level coming in at and what can we expect for these different decks. Now, again, keep in mind, based on GTS's website, which is a distributor here in the States, we already know that there's going to be at least 2 unique decks per color, and then likely there'll be a third option for probably red, since that's like their everyone starts with type of deck. So probably red's gonna get a little special treatment. Maybe we'll have 9, but hopefully 10 unique decks that will all play a bit differently. So we can definitely look forward to that as well. But before we get into all that, I kind of want to showcase just right up front the cards that we got. Now you'll notice that there is this beautiful full art, right? Like right through the back of it. It's not, fully the full art that we got from Battle Spirits, but it does have that slightly transparent white text box over it, but you do still get to see some of that artwork through the back. And then if you remember from the trailer that we got back in August when the first reveals happened, we saw these beautiful full art cards, and I just pulled the purple example that was out of the trailer. So I'm really thinking that what this is going to mean, because we already know how many unique cards to expect, the special rares, kind of like Digimon and One Piece, right, are going to be more of the alternate arts, and those are going to be the true full art. So what I'm expecting is the special rare for the card that we're showing off here is going to be a lot closer to what we have in original Battle Spirits. And it makes sense just from like a collector standpoint, right? If Battle Spirits Saga retains the same amount of generosity that Digimon and One Piece have, we do need a collector side to it, right? Like for anyone that plays Digimon or One Piece, that'll be up soon, they'll tell you like those super rares end up just tanking to $5. Like it's very, very cheap, and there's not a lot of incentive to opening boxes. So you have to have some other kind of like chase rarity in the set to get, ultimately consumers to buy more boxes, have those exciting pack opening moments. And I think special rares are what we're going to be looking forward to that degree. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get some really sick full art X rares, again, which will be shifted to super rares, special rares. And we'll go from there. And then I guess also you might have noticed is that, yes, I did use super rare in the thumbnail. That's really just coming from other Japanese trading card games. Super rare is really like the term that's most often used. But again, in Battle Spirits, what we expect it to be is X rare. So for future videos and future content, I just kind of want to put that out there just as like a base set. Obviously, it's not 100% confirmed yet, because we have to wait for ratios and box openings and stuff of that nature. But I would be shocked if X rare is not equivalent to super rares in other games. So that is the rarity up front. Enough rambling. Let's get into the actual cards themselves and what they mean for where our power level is coming at. And again, huge disclaimer. These were not official spoilers because they were just taken from the tweet, right? It's kind of hard to say if these are going to be final or not. So on Bandai's behalf, and just kind of as a good word of caution, spoiler, these might not be final. So what I did was go ahead and pull the original artwork from Battle Spirits on the right. We have the cards that we have in the middle, and then there are also effects just, right above me. So the thing that I will say right off the bat, all of these cards change, and that is going to be what we're going to expect going forward, right? So like One Piece, like Digimon, it did borrow a lot of artwork from one source or another. Now, what's interesting about Battle Spirits is obviously, because it's been around for 15 years, they have a lot of artwork to pull from, and it's all unique to their game, right? It's not screenshots from an anime. It's not, popular artist drawn, what have you, right? It's all unique in terms of what's available to the IP itself. So personally, I don't mind that we're getting some of these artworks. Because again, me as your average player who's only more recently been following Battle Spirits, I haven't seen this stuff before. So for me, it's exciting. Now, if maybe you're a veteran of Battle Spirits, you're going to be a little upset that your favorite card got changed or they cropped the photo differently. I definitely understand that. But I think for the vast majority of players who are seeing this for the first time are just going to be excited. You're just opening it and it's going to be awesome. Like the artwork in Battle Spirits is just so good. And I can't wait until we get more than just these few spoilers so that hopefully that point will come across. Because, Red's a lot of dragons and stuff, but the colors they have are just so unique and they're very vibrant in the different art styles that they have that it really does have something from everyone. I think that's like one of the main things that I love about Battle Spirits. Again, you want dragons, we got that. We got celestial animals and angels and things of that nature. We got that too. You are a forest-loving druid who just wants insects and wolves and bears and stuff. We have that too. Undead samurais, undead demons and stuff of that nature. That's in purple. Then white's all mechas, right? So there's so much variety out there that it really, every set has something exciting that I think a lot of players will like. Even if you're like me who says, oh, I just love yellow, that's usually the color that I always play, I can really appreciate what the other colors have from a typing standpoint, because, eventually we'll see a crossover where like white will get a dragon, but then it's this huge like mecha dragon. And there's a little bit of crossover like that too. So again, the artwork's beautiful. A lot of really exciting stuff to come, hopefully in the following weeks where we get more spoilers, but enough rambling about how much I love the artwork. Let's just get into the effects. So up first, we have Nebula, Dragon, Andromeda. Now, again, the other thing you'll notice is a lot of these names are going to be longer, so you're going to either love or hate that. So on level 1, 2, or 3, so again, as a just base reminder for those that don't know, when you play a spirit, you can choose what level it comes in at. You just have to put that many cores on it. So select one of your opponent's spirits with 3,000 or lower BP or one of their nexuses and destroy it. So off the bat, I love this card. And again, I'm going to be approaching this just from a generic TCG knowledge standpoint in terms of the various effects and how I think that they're going to play out, but then also with a little bit of Battle Spirits I've been following or playing, knowing how important cost reduction is. So 3,000 BP on destruction effect, that's already going to be very strong value. As you're playing Battle Spirits, you really want to try to stick these cheaper spirits to the board because cost reduction is going to be a critical key point in building out your strategy and making sure that you can afford your cards in the mid to late game. So being able to pop a spirit for free, again, it's not an attack, right? Like a lot of the effects you'll see that we have from the demo decks, right? Like Confront, that forces you to commit an attack. Yes, you're going to remove one of their guys, but then you don't have a blocker. This is effectively going to be a +2, so it's going to kill something when it enters, and it also threatens a blocker, right? So you're shutting down 2 units in that case. And what's also interesting is we see later on that when we get blue, or I think white is also pretty heavy in Nexus, if I remember correctly, you then also have the option to destroy a Nexus. So this is already what I was talking about in some of the other videos where it's like, Battle Spirits really does this well where they bake in these multiple effects into their creatures. So let's say you draw this, it's early game, they play a 3,000 spirit, you want to pop it. Later on, they have a Nexus that's really bothering you. Say, okay, well, I don't need to pop the creature. Or maybe if I delete one of their creatures, it'll lower the amount of reduction that they can have access to. And then you get this really interesting decisions like, do I value their Nexus more? Do I want to try to put them off one more turn? And the cards have that flexibility. So just like up front, like I love being able to see this as an option just for how flexible it's going to be. And plus there is some future speculation that, being 6 costs and based on what other cards we get, it might just be a staple for that reason. I don't want to go too far into that because that's like way too far speculation territory, but there are other reasons why this card might be good. I just really want to talk to it like in a vacuum itself. And then at level 3, so again, this is a blurry image because it was just from that tweet, but 5 cores is a lot, but 10k power is also pretty high up there. So you're going to kill whatever it is. Then it also has Confront. So really, the turn you play this, it's going to kill some, threaten a blocker. Even at 1 core, a 4k power is pretty good. 3 for 6k is for at least the demo decks we've seen so far. That's fine too. And then on your next turn, once you're able to establish a bit more board presence, then if you want to, you can use the confront and force your opponent into blocks and remove more of their creatures. So again, you're just a turn after turn after turn assaulting them, removing their units or spirits in this case, and really making it difficult for them to acquire that cost reduction for future cards. So overall, I think this is just a wonderful card. Again, disclaimer, maybe they're not final, but I would not be surprised at all if this sees play. So this, I believe, now this is where it gets more into speculation. Again, one of the two types of decks that I would expect, given the on-play deletion effect, given the fact that it's going to be a higher cost, I for sure expect that we're going to see a higher cost curve red deck, or big red to use the generic TCG term, that's going to play into this and then play into maybe some 8 or 9 cost dragons as well within this first set. That said, this still has a reasonable place as kind of a top end, because if your opponent has a blocker that they're trying to survive on, right, all spirits have haste. That's a good thing to just reiterate here. So on play, you get to delete something. On attack, you're confronting for 4K. That's removing a good amount of the board already. So I could see this going both ways, and I'm really curious to see what other potential X rares that we have. Again, because it's a full art, because we know that these cards in previous sets were either M or X rare, the higher rarity stuff. I'm really curious to see what else we get for red in terms of those two very unique styles. Now, we've had a lot of red, right? Red demo decks. Everyone's been talking about red. A lot of confront, a lot of BP destruction stuff. It's good. Maybe, if you like red, you're probably excited that you got all those spoilers first. But I'm not. I'm not typically a red player in my card game, so I was really excited that we got some previews for the other colors. So Dark King Snake Pendcoles, I believe is how you say that. I'm going to butcher these names. For those that maybe have been around the channel for a while, I am so terrible at pronunciations, and I do apologize in advance, but that's just how it is. But this guy, look at this artwork that we have on the right from, again, that's the original artwork, and then in the middle is what we have from what it's going to be appearing as in Battle Spirit Saga. Obviously, again, all these cards change. Ignore the text on the Japanese cards. Don't bother looking it up. It's all different. But it's a beautiful card, and I love just the styling of it. So I'm really excited to see where purple's going to go. Now, this one is an interesting one, because purple generally is going to have your core removal, which is going to be this one, or your cheap revival. But this one is just good in general, right? So it does cost 7, so it's on the higher end of what we've seen so far, but 3 reduction. Level 1, 2, and 3, when the spirit attacks, select one of your opponent's spirits, remove all but 1 core from it, and place it into the reserve. So again, here's an important disclaimer. Yes, you are removing those cores from a spirit, but remember, if those cores are in the reserve and not trash, they can still use those cores for magic, or for specifically, I guess I should say, flash timing magic, right? Or if there's something that allows them to play a different card, like a spirit or a nexus or what have you, at that specific timing, then they could still do something with it. So it's not like a complete shutdown that you're doing, but it does weaken their board, which is really important. And then at level 2 and level 3, which again here is going to be 3 for 6 and 4 for 7k, so there's a little bit more commitment that you have to put on it. Select one of your opponent's spirits, remove a core from it, and place it into their trash. So that second effect is going to remove it, put it in their trash, deny them that essentially mono resource or core resource until their next turn. And then again, reminder, if that spirit does not have any cores on it, it goes bye-bye, goes to the trash, and it's out of there. So it's important to note, if you think about from a attacking standpoint, those are both going to happen. So they're going to resolve in order. So you declare, if they only have 1 unit on board, let's say, or 1 spirit, you declare the attacker. The first one's going to strip it. If it's level 2 or 3, the second effect is going to completely delete it. And then you are swinging onto their empty board. Now, again, the way the game works, you're not going to have just 1 spirit a lot of the time. You're going to have other things on board, because again, you're building out that cost reduction standpoint. But this is a good preview into one of the 2 styles of purple that we would see. So again, 7 costs. We don't really have a lot of great context of how this is going to come into play from a overall cost perspective and how good it is, but it is removal. But here's the important part too, right? To compare it to the red card, this one, while yes, being able to tackle a much larger spirit or higher value spirit, it does require you to attack, where the red would at least still offer up the block. So here's where you can really start to see how some of those effects separate what the cards are wanting to be doing, or how they're approaching their combat strategy. But this does require you to commit to the attack. And, again, that you can make sure that you're taking out their largest threat if they stack like 6 cores on it or something. But what other things they have in the field that you might have to be worried about. So this is really one of those things that I'm curious to see how it'll play out as like a real game goes on. But it's great that we did get to see some of the purple core reduction effects. Moving on to white, we finally have our Mecha-Elk, in this case. So Divine Moonsky Beast Fanatech-Elk. Whew, that is a long name. Again, another card, it's completely changed. Obviously, we don't have the Grand Walker Nexus reduction. It just has a reduction of 3, but again, all this is subject to change. So when this spirit attacks during this turn, the spirit cannot be destroyed by your opponent's destruction effects, cannot be destroyed in battle, or cannot have its cores removed by your opponent's effects. So this is white's armor effect. Now, it doesn't specifically have that armor clause here because it's being more specific, but this is really a great showcase of what white wants to do and just making it really hard for your opponent to play the game, right? Making sure that you have protection against these different things that quite honestly can leave your opponent very frustrated, depending on what they have. So if you're someone who really likes a more defensive strategy, you like taxing your opponent, or just telling them no, white is really going to be a strong color for you to pick. And then the last one's really interesting. So level 2 and level 3. So again, you have to commit at least 3 cores, which is quite a bit early on, or then 5 for the level 3. But if you did not lose life this turn, place 1 core from your opponent's life into their trash. So we have this life burn effect already confirmed in set 1. Well, confirmed in set 1. So it's really interesting because, right, that's going to be pretty hard. Well, I would imagine it's going to be pretty difficult to consistently get that effect off. Now, once you control the board, because that's what white wants to be doing, you want to play to the late game, maybe you set yourself in a position where it's not that difficult to achieve, and then slowly burning your opponent turn after turn. Or, again, you can also think about it as you're attacking, you put them down to 1, but then you have this, like, untouchable wall put up. If they're at 1 life and then this end of opponent's turn effect triggers, you're going to win the game because they lose that last life. So you can also set yourself up to be a bit more strategic with it, where you can deal that last point of damage through the Elk. Now, again, your opponent's going to say, hey, I want to make sure that I can get a point of damage in one way or another. And I would not be surprised if red also gets a life burn effect. So again, red versus white always being those 2 colors that want to go at it. But this really does immediately tell us that, yes, white is going to have its more defensive characteristics. There is going to be a payoff for shutting down your opponent, taxing them, making sure they're not attacking, or making it very difficult through armor or bounce effects. I'm sure we're going to get bounce as well. Just making it really hard for them to attack, basically. So again, if you like control colors, white is going to be a really interesting one for you. So I'm curious what this looks like, because it's more of a, like purple, right? It's just a generic effect that could be really good. So I can't wait till we see more support for this card. And then the last one is, well, more straightforward in terms of what archetype it supports, but I know a lot of people called this card, oh, it's bad, it's the worst one. No, this card kind of slaps. So yellow, obviously my favorite color and clearly the best one in Battle Spirit Saga, is really known for a couple different things. Again, it's going to be your magic spam, your life gain, or just a little swarmy OTK business. Now, not always OTK that you set up this some like crazy board that's uninteractable and all this stuff, but you go wide with your spirits and just get an extra attacks. And that's exactly what this card wants to be doing. So Calamity, Beast, Chaos, Pegasoros. During your attack step, all your spirits that cost 2 gain 2,000 BP. So immediately we know, again, assuming the effect's final, that we are going to have a 2-cost spam style of deck. Now, it might have a 4 cost that says all your cards also cost 2, right? There's a bunch of different ways that they can enable this, but this is a very specific effect that they are giving this card. So this is, if it's final, this is a dead giveaway on one of the types of archetypes that we're getting for yellow in the main set. And then what's super spicy is the level 3, and it only requires 3 cores. Now that's where I'll kind of get to the more disclaimer part of this, right? You might have noticed that, wait, why is that so cheap? The level 3 for yellow is insanely cheap compared to like the 6 and 7 costs that we saw on all those other cards. How was that balanced? Why is that fair? Well, you have to remember that for a spirit to be in the field, you have to have a core on it. Yellow really starts to struggle because you try to set up such a wide board that all of them have to have 1 core on them. So it's really hard in yellow to get a meaningful level 2 or even level 3 unless the game has progressed to such a long point, or you've taken the life and you're trying to set up a comeback from one life. So, you know, one of the ways to combat against this is just going to be resource choking out yellow so they can't set up those wide boards. But again, at level 3, when the spirit attacks, select 2 of your spirits that cost 2 and refresh them. Free attacks are really good. I don't know that we're going to get it in the first set, but, you know, in yellow decks in current Battle Spirits meta, there is a way to set up to have some or all of your creatures also be unblockable. So there could be a spell that says, hey, your opponent can only block with yellow spirits this turn, or, you know, some other kind of conditional based magic that lets them freely attack. And then you can say, hey, I'm going to attack with these 2 small guys, attack with my Calamity Beast. I don't care if it dies. It still gets the effects, right? Because remember, it's when the spirit attacks, resolve all those effects, and then go to flash timing. So your Calamity Beast is still going to get that effect off. Then you say, okay, whatever, it's a 4K, it dies, or, well, sorry, 6K, it dies. Who cares? My other 2 spirits are still going to attack and get through for the win. So I'm really excited. I think the original artwork is just gorgeous. Like the framing, the light and fun nature of yellow. That's probably why it's my favorite color. Like Sigrun and Dragoborn. Like I think the cards themselves just look bright, vibrant, and fun and engaging, and they look nice on the table is what it is. And again, the artwork does pop in some of the others. I'm sure everyone has their favorites, but for me, it is yellow. And this is again 100% dead giveaway that we are getting this type of, again, assuming it stays the same, dead giveaway of what we'll be getting for set 1 for yellow. And then because we know what the starter deck is based on the character or spirit that's in front of it, we can assume that's going to be some type of magic deck. So we already have a kind of a very good speculation chance of what these 2 cards are going to be doing. So with that, I hope you're excited for Battle Spirit Saga. I know, again, this is it's pretty early on, subject to change, but I want to see kind of where the news was going to go this week. But again, going forward, we're just going to do 1 video a week until we start getting more news, and we'll just kind of, you know, talk about all the tweets that happened. Maybe there's some more leaks, and you know, just try to do it all in one longer, but, you know, once a week video, and we'll just cover all the topics till then. But hopefully, again, fingers crossed, Bandai, if you're out there, hopefully we're going to get another either demo deck or starter deck preview, whatever it is, in January when those kits start going out, so that we can start introducing players to the other colors and doing like red versus white, or red versus yellow, or red versus purple, right? Just literally anything but red, since we already got the red spoilers. So with that, my friends, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Again, I might be kicking myself come Monday and we get some big news. And I do another video on Monday, but again, going forward, hopefully the plan is it's just gonna be Fridays from here on out until we get the proper spoiler season. And then once we have enough cards to make new decks with, we'll also be featuring more gameplay on the channel. So please make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on that for all Battle Spirits Saga stuff. So with that, have a great weekend. Stay hydrated, my friends, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.